You mother! Referee! Hello, internet sluts! Whoop! I am the guy in the basement, the award-winning basement, live from Bethany, Nebraska. Anywho, today we're going to talk about I learned to cuss at a Nebraska football game. Yes, it's true. I learned a lot of bad language at Nebraska football games. It all started when I was a kid. I think my first Nebraska football game I was about 5 years old, and it just kind of escalated from there. And that was pretty much in the mid 70s, 74, maybe 75. Anyway, but I learned language, not from my parents, sometimes from the neighborhood kids, but not as bad if you went to a Nebraska football game, because people show emotions, people get excited, we didn't have instant replay back then. Referees missed some calls, fans will let you know about it. And boy, did they let you know about it in explicit ways. And yes, I can remember that. I remember when my parents used to have season football tickets. This is way back, like I said, the 70s and into the mid 80s. But I can remember there was always, when we sat, there was a guy there, an older guy. I'd say probably, probably I'd say between 55 and 65. I'm assuming, but I was a kid. Everybody looked old to me anyway. So, but I can always remember this guy. He always had a cigar. Now, at that time, you could smoke in the stadiums. I know, right? You could actually smoke in a football stadium back then. But it's true. And he always had these big, fat, freaking cigars. Now, I'm not kidding. I mean, these would be like this long and probably that fat around. And he would sit, I think he was sitting, right next to us or behind us. I'm not quite sure. But he was a season ticket holder. And I tell you, this guy was passionate about Nebraska football. Let's just put it that way. He was very passionate about Nebraska football. He was very passionate about a lot of things. I'm surprised he didn't die sitting there or whatever. Because that guy was really, I mean, I know that guy probably had high blood pressure, but I tell you, if he went to a Nebraska football game, his blood pressure rose a little bit more. But boy, the stuff he said about referees, wow. I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm not even 10 years old, and I'm listening to this guy because at that time, as a kid, I thought it was funnier than hell because this guy was cussing up a storm at a referee. A referee would miss a bad call during the play, and oh my God, this dude would just yell and scream and shout, and oh man, it was funnier than hell. And the language, yeah, for a kid who's under 10 years old, you know, yeah, I thought it was funny. Sometimes my mom would go to the games with my dad, and we would go all of us. My mom would just sit there and shake her head. You know, my mom, and sometimes I would get a little excited and curse, and my mom would kind of just like nudge me, like, and but it was funny though. That guy just kept yelling and cussing and stuff. And that's how I learned to cuss. I learned to cuss at a Nebraska football game from that guy. Seriously. When I went with my dad wouldn't say anything. My dad was let's put it this way. My dad was so involved in the game, he didn't give a rat's ass what I said. He just sat there. He said, that's fine. Like my dad was like, oh, that's okay. That's what he did. That's okay. So don't say it again. Okay. And then he'll go watch the game again. That's what happened. And that's why I learned to cuss at a Nebraska football game. Yeah, Nebraska fans are very passionate about football, like every other football fan across the nation. Yes, we do. Our little emotionals get a little, And yes, sometimes there's little children around, and I've done it before, and I've done it, and I admit it, I'm guilty. One time I went to a Nebraska football game with my wife, Mrs. Drunk Farmer, and yes, there's little kids around us, and yes, I do have a big mouth. And yes, I get very passionate about football. And yes, I did curse. And my wife nudged me, the old elbow. Just little kids here, you know, kind of, you know, but you can't help it. Sometimes you just can't help it. I mean, if passionate fans, Nebraska are very passionate fans, and we get a little emotional. It's true. So, next time you go to the Nebraska football game, please watch your language around the little children. That was a public service announcement from Drunk Farmer. But what the hell do I know? I'm just a guy in the basement. Till next time, we will see you later. But hey, before I go, because I'm a sexy guy, hit that thumbs up button, hit that comment button, subscribe, or you can leave me a comment at Gmail. Oh, excuse me. See, I'm not a professional. You can leave me an email at drunkfarmer67@gmail.com. I knew I'd get it eventually, and I did. Until then, everyone, we will see you later. Have a wonderful weekend. I am out of here. So long.